Leave it to the Democrats to fuck up the world's easiest layup. Listen to this from the Washington Post. Democrats see opportunity to capitalize on president's embrace of Russia. Democrats are pouncing on President Donald Trump's performance at Monday's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, eyeing a new opportunity to turn his embrace of Russia into a winning campaign issue in November's midterm elections. Even lawmakers and strategists who have been skeptical that the Russia investigations would motivate swing voters said Tuesday that the president's decision to publicly question the conclusions of U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies while standing at Putin's side represented a watershed political moment. Quote, "He is literally, bit by bit, destroying our relationship with our closest allies and embracing Vladimir Putin. And I just think it is a step way too far," said Representative Sherry Bustos, who helped craft a Democratic campaign agenda squarely focused on raising wages, improving health care, and preserving retirement benefits. Citing polls and focus groups that have put Trump and Russia far down the list of voter priorities, Democratic strategists have counseled candidates and party leaders for months to discuss kitchen table issues. Now, after a remarkable 46-minute news conference on foreign soil where Trump stood side by side with a former KGB agent to praise his strong denials of election interference and criticize the FBI, those strategists believe the ground may have shifted. Yeah. Okay. So, no reason for me to wantonly speculate here. Let's go to the numbers. So there's a new Gallup poll out, and they asked the American people what issues they care most about. Now, number one, of course, is the economy. It's always the economy. It's overwhelmingly the economy. Now, when you go to the non-economic issues, what is most on the minds of the American people? Well, I'll take a look. Dissatisfaction with government, 22%. That's number one. It's dissatisfaction with government and poor leadership, 22% of Americans. Immigration and illegal aliens, 5% of Americans. Race relations and racism, 8%. Healthcare, 5%. Lack of respect for each other, 5%. Unifying the country, 8%. Guns and gun control, 1%. Ethics, morality, religion, and family decline, 6%. And then, we don't need to go down all the way down the list here, but, North Korea, for example, 5%. But a lot of stuff is stuck at 1%. How much do the American people think about Russia? That's the question. At the very, very bottom of this list, situation with Russia is an option. So few people picked that issue, it didn't even register. It's less than 1% of Americans are concerned about the situation with Russia. This wasn't a seismic shift. This wasn't a watershed moment. This isn't an outrage, sir. I can't believe what I've just seen with my own eyes. Because this is just Washington, D.C. elites and the establishment in their own political bubble where they think this is the end of the world because it flies in the face of conventional wisdom. It turns out that among the American people, number one, many of them probably don't even know the fucking summit happened between Trump and Putin. Number two, of the people who did, it doesn't strike them as inherently outrageous that you can question the conclusions of the intelligence agencies. The intelligence agencies are not fucking Pollyanna. They're not like, just these objective, truth tellers. And these are the same intelligence agencies that just lied us into the Iraq war. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. It just happened in our lifetimes. In our lifetimes. The last fucking people I trust are the intelligence agencies. The last people. So when Trump questions the intelligence agencies on foreign soil next to Vladimir Putin, I'm not shocked and I'm not outraged. Everybody knows the reason why he keeps downplaying the election interference is because it helped him. If Russia indeed got the DNC emails and released them and showed, oh my God, look at what's happening, Hillary's rigging the primary, and there's so much corruption in the DNC, and look at all these terrible quotes from Hillary about how she wants totally free and open trade borders, and oh my God, there's intolerance and bigotry against the rich. If Russia was responsible for leaking that information, the leak of that information helped Donald Trump in the general election. Donald Trump doesn't want to give credit to anybody else for his victory other than himself because he thinks he's so glorious and wonderful and special. So when he acts like, Putin said he didn't interfere, and I believe him. I believe him. That's why, let me just tell you, I believe him. It's because he wants all the glory to himself. He doesn't want the media saying the only reason Trump won is because of Russia, because that takes away from his ego and his fucking self-worth. So he's like, no, it was all me. So I believe Vladimir Putin when he says he didn't interfere in the election. He was very strong in his denial. It's not unpredictable. It's not outrageous. It's totally predictable and it's totally banal. And all the other shit they said in that press conference, oh my God, isn't it so great to work with each other? Every other president has done the same thing. In fact, Vladimir Putin, back during the Obama election, when it was Obama versus Romney, he heavily implied, I support Obama over Romney. Why? Because Obama was less hawkish on the issue of Russia than Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney famously said, we never left the Cold War, we're still in the Cold War. Barack Obama responded, the 1980s called, they want their foreign policy back. So Obama was more of a dove on the issue of Russia. Vladimir Putin wanted somebody in the U.S. who was more of a dove so that they could get along and we don't have fucking World War III. This stuff is not complicated. It's not outrageous. Only in the dumbass media bubble, the establishment circles, do they look at this shit and oh, I cannot believe he didn't stand next to Putin and put his finger in his face and fucking wag his finger and berate him and tell him, sir, you better stop with what you're doing right now. Fucking children in the media. And now the Democrats are like, even the strategists who were kind of starting to get it, like, oh shit, maybe, just maybe we should focus on like jobs and wages and poverty and income inequality and corruption and fucking foreign policy and maybe a new deal so that we can increase wages and give people jobs because our infrastructure gets a grade of D+. Maybe we focus on a living wage and real issues that affect people materially. They were just starting to get it, and then this dumbass thing happened where the media melts down for 3 days straight, and they go, we must now change strategy and only talk about that thing that people still don't give a fuck about, even though we're pretending they do because we're in our establishment media bubble. Read a goddamn poll, you idiots. But the crazy thing is they cite the polls. They're like, oh yeah, in the polls, people don't care about Russia. But now we're going to focus on Russia. Why? Well, it was the thing that happened. It was like a watershed moment. Says who? Some idiots who know nothing and don't look at polls. Right, so don't listen to them. What do you... It's so hard. Why do I have to come out here and say obvious shit? Even if you believe in the worst case scenario with Trump and Russia, the worst case scenario, even if you believe that, you shouldn't want to put it front and center because you're gonna fucking lose if you do that. You're gonna fucking lose. You're gonna lose. You're gonna give Trump another 4 years. You're gonna give the Republicans maintain control of the Senate and the House. Even if you believe in it, even if you are 100% chugging the Kool-Aid on Trump, Russia, totally every Manchurian candidate, Putin's puppet. Even if you believe that, you shouldn't focus on this issue for fucking campaigns. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And by the way, again, just like I said in the last segment, if you really believed in it, the policies you propose should be solutions to this stuff. And what's the best solution to this stuff? Number one, a cybersecurity bill to make sure that they can't leak stuff from the DNC or the RNC or the government or anybody else. And paper ballots for the elections so we know that the election results are trustworthy. But they're not talking about that. It's almost like they're using this as a partisan hack political issue, and it's going to get them nowhere and fuck them up, and it's the left's version of Benghazi.